Hello everyone and welcome to round 4 of the Podium tier at 7 PM. I've got Odems alongside me and we are, as I said, at Russia at the Olympic resort of Sochi. And Odems, we've already got some drivers out on track, Mosh leading the way. Track limits here are the talking point onto today's race. What are you expecting?
I'm expecting a lot of penalties. I'm expecting us to not have a decisive winner at any point of the race, and I'm just expecting some chaos in that regard. I'll be back in a second.
As Oden's pops off, yes, we're looking forward to another hopefully close qualifying session. We've got 14 drivers tonight, so we are 6 short of what we should be. Welcome everybody just joining us. We're riding on board with Mosh, who's definitely not taking it easy on his outlap. In fact, we have just witnessed Mosh totaling his car, and that is his end to the session. I'm not really sure what happened there, but that was a huge mistake, and you have to say that he's going to be bitterly disappointed, starting 14th place. Wow, I didn't see that coming, but Mosh was pushing, and perhaps he shouldn't have pushed so much on his outlap. So back with Lukey, and we are on the ultra soft tyres. He's currently on an outlap. Techno Thriller and Lemaine are showing as the only 2 drivers not to run the ultra soft tyres, as Techno Thriller is about to start a flying lap.
I expect those 2 will start on the ultras. I don't really see any benefit starting on the softs.
Oh, Dems, you just missed Mosh crashing out on his outlap at the end of the back straight.
Yeah, I just saw him in the barrier, yeah.
Yeah, so he wasn't able to slow the car down, and that was his race over at the end of that straight. I've always struggled, actually, with that straight, braking, obviously, at racing speeds, because it's a kink right at the end, isn't it? Especially with DRS open, it can sometimes be tricky for the drivers.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's easy to just lose the back end and slam into the inside wall. I've done that a few times in other leagues. So yeah, not good to have that happen.
Yeah, myself included. I've been victim of the back end doing a tank slapper under braking. Techno Thriller, he's taken the last 2 pole positions. He's currently on tire as we near the 8-minute mark left in the session. What do you expect from him today, Odems, to continue the form that he's currently holding?
I would say so. This seems like a track that would suit his, possibly careful driving size or style.
So let's see what the 50-point man can do. As King Chris sets the fastest lap of the race, so he's the first driver to cross the line and set a time. We're going to ride on board with Techno Thriller. He goes across, and it's a 1:37. So I can only presume, because it hasn't shown his time, that it was a cut somewhere around that lap. Jamie pops into 2nd, and Kev pops into 3rd position. Times aren't that close at the moment. King Chris has got a good banker lap in there. Long track here with, I believe, one of the longest amount of corners in the calendar, as Kian does a 34.3. What times do you expect to be pole time today, Odems?
I think for Podium, I would expect to get into the high 38. Kian said a high 38. He said he didn't think he'll set that in the actual qualifying session. So maybe low 34s, high 38s. He's already gotten that low 34. In Pinnacle, I'll be thinking low 32s, not low 32s, sorry, high 32s, low 33s. I could set a low 30. So that's why I think it works. Just people quicker than me in there, obviously.
Got a yellow flag in Sector 3 as Sauber moves right out the way of Gazaman, who's currently on a quick lap. He's going through that section that we were talking about earlier, as we can see what looks to be a fantastic roller coaster in the background. The pit straight is on your right there. Gaz is still sporting the pink helmet from Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so well done to him. Spider has joined the session, Odems, a bit late, so he won't be able to take part, as Gaza completely gives up on his lap and comes into the pits. But Spider will get to take part in the race, which is going to be good for his point scoring position.
You won't pick up setup though, which is unfortunate. That happened to me last season. I joined late, I couldn't pick a setup, and I just spent the whole race sending Cliffy off because he was much quicker than me.
So Lemaine is currently on the super soft tyre. We've got quite a few drivers out on track. If you're just joining us,
once again
invalidated. So he's struggling with the track limits here, and this is something that, you know, we don't enjoy commentating on, in terms of watching drivers ruin their laps because of slight cuts and slight extends. But strict is definitely what we need to run here in order to level the playing field and make it fair for everybody. Kian currently up there in first position on a 134.3. We're not seeing the gaps that close, and with 5 minutes to go, Odems, we've only got 6 drivers who have set a lap time.
That's just a testament to the nature of this track. You just set a solid banker, you'll definitely be up there higher than you think you would. Kian easily eased the way. That was at the start of the session as well. He easily eased the way, and he just set a decent lap. So qualifying is just so important here to get it spot on. I'm watching Techno Triller, and he seems to have. He's very careful. He's driving very carefully. He seems to have gotten the hang of it a bit.
Yeah, he was slightly four wheels, but I know that corner on previous games can be a little bit forgiving. So let's see what he crosses the line and is able to do. He's only got 4 minutes left of the session, so he does indeed do 134, I believe, or 130. Sorry, 135.5.
He's not going to get out.
So has he misjudged the time he needs to complete his lap? Riding on board with Lukey, he still hasn't set a time, the former champion, and of course premium member. So I wonder what he can do in his Ferrari. As he looks to cut that corner. Perhaps he's coming in to get a fresh set of boots. Jonas, what can he do? He's on a quick lap. He's got Emphatics behind him in the Force India, getting quite close. As he moves out of the way. Speaking of Force Indias, a shout out to the Bookster who's watching the stream live. He can't be here this week, but doesn't mean that he can't join in and support his fellow podium tier drivers. So hopefully see you back next week on track, Bookster. For now though, we've got just over 3 minutes left of the session, and these times are surely to tumble down, Odems.
Yeah, we would hope so. At least more of them to appear.
Yeah, we've only got 8 drivers who have set a time so far. Matt, your daddy in the Ferrari, is out on track. A nice yellow helmet. Definitely stands out from the crowd in that Ferrari. Wonder what he can do. He's got 4 laps of fuel. He's on max. So you have to say, Odems, he's going to go... Oh, as he slides it and hits his wing through turn 3. That was a massive oversteer moment as we see carbon fiber flying across the track right in front of him, 200-300 meters after he crashed. As I was talking about his helmet, he lost the back end there and damaged his wing. So that's compromised not only this lap but the rest of his qualifying session. He isn't going to be able to get back in.
Out. It's worth it starting a lap anyways.
Yeah, definitely. With so many drivers, you know, Mosh, because of he's set out lapped, he's still sitting in 9th place at the moment. Jonas has got Force India in front of him. He's on a hot lap, he's running max fuel. He's going to be able to get another one after this one though. See what time he's able to do. 1 corner to go. And it's a really cautious lap. That puts him in 9th position, last of the runners to have set a time. So this is going to be interesting. Who can do what? The McLaren driver and the Force India side by side in terms of track position, but we'll keep an eye on each of them and see whether they can improve being that close to each other on track.
How much time do we have left?
We have just over a minute left, so I expect a lot of these guys. Lukey's on an out lap. Let's see if he can make it round. He's just exited.
Well.
I don't think Lukey will be able to finish this lap. Under a minute left and he's still in the... Oh, he's coming down the back straight actually, sorry, my apologies. I haven't driven this track on this game actually, so you'll have to forgive me if I get some of these corners wrong, but the current champion is out on track, testing the limits, and he's going to want to get a good solid lap in, but Odems, the pressure's really on when you haven't set a lap time, and one little cut and you're starting near the back of the grid.
Yeah, it's a terrifying prospect. Gets really tense. It just makes the stakes that much higher. Kian's fortunate that he set a banker lap. Oh, no, he hasn't scored. Never mind, that's just like Kian's fortunate that he sent a banker lap, so he has a bit of leeway. Other people like Lukey, Not Your Daddy, they have to be a lot more cautious.
So we're getting some flags come out now. So King Chris hasn't improved. Neither's Techno Thriller, neither's Lemaine, neither's Jonas. In fact, Jonas I think has slightly improved, but they are the ones to not be able to set another lap time. And also Not Your Daddy in 14th place hasn't even set a time in his Ferrari, and he will be starting in that position. So Mosh, who crashed out, isn't going to be starting last, that's for sure. Whether he'll start 12th or 13th depends on what Lukey can do. We still got Kian on track, who you have to say is looking handy for his first pole position in F1 TS Hub. The times ran out on the clock. He's in the middle sector, so Kev is currently in 3rd position. You have to say that's a decent time from him. He's just jumped up and starting on the 2nd row. I think he'll be happy with that as we ride on board with Jamie.
Yeah.
What can the Toro Rosso do? What can he pull out of these last couple of corners? He's in lean, so he's abandoning his lap.
Kian is definitely on something good here.
We're going to ride on board with Oz as he crosses the line, and then we're going to switch to Kian and see what the provisional pole sitter can do. He improves and does a 1:33.8. And you have to say, Odems, what a lap when it counted. He has definitely set a marker here from the front row of the grid last week. And Lukey's invalidated, so Mosh will start 12th. And Emphatic's pitted, so a bit of an anti-climax. But Kian didn't let us down. He put in a stunner of a lap. And congratulations to him. That's his first pole position at F1 TS Hub.
That was very well done. He said to me that, he said in the chat rather, that he set a 33.8. And he didn't expect to do it, but he's done it brilliantly. And he's taken pole by, what is that, 1.3?
Yeah, that's the biggest margin we've seen so far this season. So a massive congratulations to Kian. I know he's been working hard at trying to get these results in that, you know, we predicted early on in the season for him. And yeah, ultra soft tire, of course, Techno, so they'll be starting on that super soft tire inside the top 10, 6th and 7th respectively. So it'll be interesting to see how they move through the field with that different compound on.
Yeah. Techno should have set a few laps on his soft if you were watching him, so he has a big disadvantage to just red wall.
Super softs, yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So, I'm not sure how many laps he minds. Techno should have set quite a few laps, so maybe that'll be a small advantage for Lemaine. But yeah, definitely it'd be good to see those two get back down in the field. It'd be good to see King Chris what he could possibly do against Kian. I'd imagine King Chris is up there in terms of pace, but he might cut a bit more.
Alright, so Kian takes his first pole position at F1 TS Hub. King Chris will start alongside of him. Kev, that's his highest qualifying position in 3rd. Jamie starts in 4th. Gaza in 5th, another solid job from him. Techno Thriller and Lemaine 6th and 7th on the Super Softs respectively. Tom is in 8th, Ols is in 9th, Jonas snuck inside the top 10, Emphatic is in 11th, Mosh is in 12th having crashed out, and Lukey and Matt Your Daddy, the two Ferraris, really struggling to set a lap time in these difficult track limits. They'll be starting 13th and 14th, and I imagine they won't want to be tripping over each other in this race.
Yeah, I'll just hope their best case would be one of them just leading the charge and the other follows through everyone he overtakes.
Got a little
So
bit
they
of
don't
cloud
definitely
here
want to.
as well, Odems, as we await the drivers to form the grid for the formation lap. I don't know if that's something that you think could later lead to rain. Of course, we don't know as commentators what the weather forecast is, but the track definitely looks a little bit greasy to me.
Yeah, yeah. Russia's not above having a bit of rain here and there. It's definitely a possibility.
Shall we take this time just to run through the standings whilst we wait for the drivers to pick their strategies and head to the formation lap? Of course, we can remind everyone that if you head over to www.f1tshub.com, you can view the latest standings for both tiers. But Odems, let's go through the Drivers' Championship and let's see who's going to be doing what today.
Alright, so leading is Technochiller, 50 points, after his 2 wins on the bounce last week and in China. Mamine is second after his win in the opener and 3rd place last week. Gazaman, some solid points positions, has gotten him into 4th, so very well done from him. Kian, after having a great result last week, is in 4th. Sorry, Gazaman's 3rd. Kian is 4th with 29 points. Luki is 5th with 28. Still yet to win a race, but he's up there around the points. Tejwar, after his DNF, he's at 24 in 6th place. Matt Your Daddy in 7th after an appalling race for him in Bahrain. Razart in 8th, with 16 points. Tied with Jamie Met, who had his debut last week, scoring well. F1 Fernando, F1 Fernando, which is King Chris, in 10th with 15 points. So he'll be looking to rectify that this week. Spider Altis, 14 points in the Renault, 11th place. Jonas in 12th. Kev, who's had a slow start, in 13th, along with Alt, who's also had a slow start. The Bookster, unfortunately, only has 2 points to his name, so he's only got Thierry sitting in 16th behind Mosh Ninja. Emphatics, Stevie Hart, William, and Elku are all on 0 points.
So drivers are just coming up to come around the last corner, and then they'll form up on their grid in their starting positions. Of course, we got 15 tonight because Spider Atlas joined later in the session. He'll start from the back of the grid in 15th place to take over from what was a last row for the Ferraris. And Odems, it's a long run down to the first corner, and unlike most tracks, you've got a kink, which is, I believe, actually classed as turn 1, and it can sometimes throw some interesting wobbles into the barriers, which are very close, left and right.
Yeah, some people they think they can just fit their nose in, or someone will give them space, and if they better hope that person does. Otherwise, they're causing a whole lot of trouble for the people ahead and in front.
Alrighty, here we go. 1 lights, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and away we are. Here we go in Russia for round 4 of the podium tier. Instantly, Kev gets a brilliant start. He's trying to go around the outside of his teammate. These two are going to be battling down to the first corner. Kian still got the inside. I saw some debris down there. It looked like a Ferrari front wing or something like that. King Chris gets back in front of Wiz, and he has an incident with Kev, and so does Jamie. Someone else gets involved, the Red Bull, which I believe has got to be Gaza. Spider Atlas is out the race. Kev is completely done. He is finished. Mosh has left the session. I'm not sure what's happened to him, or if he was that Red Bull that was involved. But my goodness, Odems, what a start.
That was crazy. Yeah, King Chris, he spun it on the exit. And then that just caused a certain Constantina effect. He took Kev, and he took Gazaman with him. Mosh might have hit them back as well. So that's absolutely crazy. The beneficiaries from this, obviously, are Kian, who's miles up the road, Alls, and Emphatics, who are now occupying the podium places.
So there's been some huge, as you said, beneficiaries from that, but that looked messy, and I couldn't even tell you, as you said, King Chris spun, but in the background, what happens afterwards, we just missed it. We just saw cars flying into the barriers left, right, and center. I know I saw a Red Bull who went into the barrier there, but I'm not too sure who or why that was.
Yeah, it might have been Mosh. I think, it was Mosh. Because he was after the fact of Gazaman crashing. So Yeah, completely chaotic. Kevin, I've just seen in the chat now, is just having a bit of a moan, as he has the right to. It was very unfortunate. I just feel bad for these guys involved in that, because that didn't seem like anyone's fault.
Alright, so we got Matt, your daddy, the Ferrari into the pits. We've got a few drivers coming into the pits here. You've also got Gaza, so he was the Red Bull driver, unfortunately, that got involved in that. As we see some shuffling down the pack here, it is a Toro Rosso versus a Mercedes versus a Sauber. Techno Thriller going down the inside and brilliantly leaves room for Lemaine as well. That's some class driving. So it was Gaza, King Chris and Matt, your daddy, who all came into the pits. I thought I saw a Toro Rosso get involved in that first corner incident, but they both still seem to be running, unless one is just slight wing damage. I'm not too sure. Spider Atlas, by the way, got back into the session after disconnecting, so he is back. And Mosh is also into the pits, so you'd have to say possibly I spoke too soon for Spider Atlas. Mosh was possibly involved. And yeah, this is going to be an interesting race. We're going to see some drivers looking to recover, and we're going to see some looking to take advantage. 3-second time penalty for Lukey already, and we're only on lap 2. So that just came up on my screen. Yeah, 3 warnings, which is going to be very difficult to carry through the rest of the race, as Tom passes Techno Thriller. Techno Thriller is going to try and go back around the outside, but now the Ferrari's on his inside. What can Lukey do? Is he going to sling it down the inside? He does indeed. Speaking of which, the champions all the way up from 13th on the grid, Odems.
He is. He's up to 6th. Obviously, he has that penalty, but he's done well to find himself there. As he's made his way, no, he hasn't made his way past Techno Thriller. He's going to try to, because Techno Thriller obviously is on the slower tire. But Kian is 5.4 seconds up the road in 2 laps. I don't want to make any assumptions, but he's looking good for the win.
DRS is open now, and we aren't being denied a battle by those early collisions. We've got a few drivers who are within DRS ranges of each other, and we've got a yellow flag in Sector 3. Not too sure why that is, but we are on board with Tom. He's going into what is turn 4, and he's got Techno Thriller and Lukey all over the back of him. Lemaine is also there. He's dropped down from, I believe he was up to 4th in the early part of this race. But as you said, Odems, Kian has over for almost a 6-second lead now. But you almost want to say that, slow down, Kev. Take your time. Make sure you get these 25 points.
Yeah, maybe he is. And he's still just gaining this amount of time. Who knows? Also, not to know that the Emphatics got past Alls, because I think Alls was ahead.
Yes, you're very correct. You're very correct there.
The Emphatics guys went past, and Alls is trying to chase him down now. He brought the gap from 8 to 6 tenths. So that's a battle that's developing there. But the main one, obviously, is Lukey is still all over the back of Techno Thriller. And mine, who I think was in 4th at one point, is actually...
Yeah, that's what I commented on, yeah. He's dropped down.
Of what he usually does, and he's now in 7th.
If we look at the biggest losers and biggest winners from that, Emphatics is up 9 positions, and Lukey is up 7 positions. Spider Atlas is up 5 after disconnecting twice. The biggest loser, obviously, Kev's down 12, and he's out of this race. I'm sorry to him. He can't catch a bit of a break, because I thought he'd done a really good job there to keep it clean and keep his nose clean. He was just really unfortunate. King Chris is down 11th, so he's going to have to show some of his pace and get back up the field. But yeah, the top 6 have all moved up positions, excluding Kian, who started on pole. And if we have a look who's on what tyre, we can see that Techno Thriller and Lemaine are still on the supers that they qualified on, and King Chris has switched onto the soft tyre, Odems.
King Chris, I'm not sure, maybe the soft tyre can make it to the end. Not sure if that's what you would want to do, because I remember last season 8, Mike had a incident in the first lap, and he decided to go to the mediums to the end. So I could overtake him in both of my stints, because he was going so slow on the slower compound. So maybe that's not the best idea.
I've just got to mention from Race Control saying that Lemaine has a penalty for 3 multiple corner cut warnings. As Techno Thriller does a late dive bomb down the inside of Tom. I don't think Tom saw that coming, and the Ferrari tries to benefit from that. Alls has fallen back into the clutches of these guys, so this is turning into a 4-way battle. and I'm really excited to see who comes out on top.
Olds must have made a mistake somewhere because he's 2 seconds behind in Fatix. He's 8 seconds behind him, by the way. So, yeah, now it's going to be a 4-way. That's an obvious cut from Peugeot.
Yeah, I'm getting messages along the bottom of the screen whenever someone does get a penalty, so hopefully we'll be able to keep you guys informed of who's doing what.
Sadly, my TV resolution doesn't show me the bottom of my screen or the top of my screen, so...
Well, none of that's important right now because we're about to go side by side through turn 3. Tom versus Techno Thriller. Lukey is looming in the background waiting for the pieces to fly off the 2 cars in front, and they're getting ever so close, these 3 cars. You can't separate them, they're nose to tail as we come down into turn 5, I believe. Lukey's trying it around the outside, gets a little wide, and Techno Thriller wants past that Toro Rosso, Odems. Where's he going to do it?
He's gonna, I don't know how he's gonna do it. It seems the best chance would be the straight coming up, but he's ran a bit wide there, so not this lap. Or the first corner. Both are quite tight corners. Both. They need you to give space, and that little inch you don't give, it could end terribly for you and the person you're trying to overtake.
Yeah, the walls are so close here. I think everyone sometimes forgets that because the track at parts is so wide with his runoff areas, but the walls are very close throughout most of the track, and Techno Thriller wasn't able to attack there as Tom gets a tank slapper in the last sector. Is Techno Thriller going to be able to take advantage of this?
That was the second time Tom has got a tank slapper. I noticed on the other lap as well. So that's
maybe he's struggling with rear tyre wear.
Yeah.
And maybe these super soft tyres are going to start coming to Techno Thriller. As you mentioned, Odems, he did a couple laps on them in qualifying. Lukey's under attack from King Chris, so I'm not really sure which one to watch here. But both are going to prove very entertaining. Techno Thriller's thinking about it. He does on the brakes, but he can't quite get alongside. Neither can King Chris. Perhaps they're both... sorry, not King Chris. Lamine, my apologies. The Mercedes driver is also on the super soft tyre. So these super softs battling the ultra softs. You have to say it isn't going to be too long, Odems, before hopefully we're able to see a clean pass. And meanwhile, Kian leads by 8 seconds.
Yeah, Kian's is on a racing zone, but the one we're watching right now, I'm looking for other engines around track. I think Jonas is right behind Jamie, so that's something to know as well. But,
the Toro Rosso is out of the race. He's slammed it straight into the wall on the back straight. Is that what we were commentating on earlier with DRS Open, coming around that little kink? Or am I at a different corner to what I believe I'm at? It's earlier than that.
It's on, I think it's hard to tell. I think
maybe just before the long straight?
Yeah, before that. I think the exit of turn 6, which is also a very traction reliant zone. You can lose it at any part of that corner.
Lemane v Lukey side by side. Lemane goes around the outside. Right on the outside of Lukey. And apologies to Tom, but he's going to be sitting on the sidelines for the rest of this race because he is retired from this session. I'm not really sure. We haven't seen a safety car yet, and it's a bit disappointing as Matt Your Daddy gets a penalty for multiple warnings.
There's Techno Thriller on the inside of Alls, and he's got him. Very straightforward. Apparently, Alls was having a bit of lag, and he might have put Peugeot off, or he might have touched him.
I didn't think Tom was that close to Alls on the interval, so it would have to be some serious lag as we've got another yellow flag in Sector 2. So drivers proving that this track isn't easy, and call it a car park if you wish, but those walls aren't forgiving.
Yeah, there's no room for error around here at all. Which I suppose is a good characteristic for a track to have. That you have to be giving 100% at all times.
Spider Atlas is really having some connection issues as he's jumped in and out of the session 5 or 6 times already this race. He's currently down in 12th position, and King Chris is up to 10th now and in the points on his soft tyres as we're looking at Jonas DRSing Jamie. He can't decide inside or outside. It's always a tricky one breaking into this final corner. Is he going to sling it down the inside? No, he thinks better of it. some good racing from those boys.
Yeah, I think it's got a little bit. Obviously, stinging it down the inside there isn't ideal, as Mosh is used to being lapped by Jamie and Jonas, so it's not a good day for Mosh.
Mosh, I believe, is not in his car. Yeah, I believe it's an AI. So, Kian's pitted. Kian, Emphatic, and Lukey have all come into the pits, and Kian has fitted the soft tyre. This is lap 8 out of 27. And so has Lukey. As Lemaine comes down the inside of Ols, they're both going to give each other room. That's some fantastic racing from those guys. Are they going to go side by side? Round turn 3. We've taken on-board view of Lemaine, and what a defensive manoeuvre by Ols. He manages to hold that position. You have to say, Lemaine was very kind then in giving him some space. And great respect between these two drivers.
Might go down the inside here. Into it a little bit. Yeah, very good, clean side-by-side racing, which is what we all love to see. I think it's a feature of this tier is that everyone's willing to go side-by-side, lose a bit of time in the interest of fairness. Just something that I myself, I can't say I'm guilty of it. Let's just say that.
Lemaine's going to line him up here down the back straight, but as we've seen already from some of these drivers, it's not the easiest place to complete an overtake. Although that Mercedes power versus that Ferrari power is surely going to help him. He's thinking about it inside outside. He can't decide, and now he doesn't want to risk it as Ols locks up the brake. So we have Emphatic, who has pitted, and also in that same lap Lukey has pitted, and so has Kian.
It's odd that Kian went onto the softs, isn't it? I really don't understand why he's done that. Like, his tires could not possibly have gone off that quick that I needed to pit so early. Surely ultra soft, super soft is a quicker strategy. I'm not sure why he felt the need to go onto the softs.
Perhaps he felt that he had enough of a cushion and a pace advantage that he could just go on the slower tyre and not have to even think about tyre wear. As we see Lemaine coming down the inside to turn 1 of Ols. They both give each other enough room. Ols locks up a little bit, but Lemaine gets the job done, and that was a textbook move into turn 1. As Lukey gets another 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Yellow flags in sector 1. As Techno Thriller has spun it. Techno Thriller has spun his car. I think he's got a little bit of wing damage as well. So he was leading this race, of course, after starting on those super soft tyres and not pitting. He's binned it at turn 4 and just lost a little bit of his wing. And he is now down in 3rd position, yet to stop. So that's going to halt his podium chances just a little bit, and he'll of course have to get that front wing changed. You can just see on the right hand side that there's a few little bits of carbon fibre.
You reckon his ultra softs can go 19 laps?
Sorry, say that again, Adams?
You reckon his ultra softs can go 19 laps?
I have no idea, but perhaps he's going to have to switch onto the soft tyre. Meanwhile, Kian is down in 7th. He's just biding his time behind Emphatic, as Jonas is still on the back of Jamie. He can't get this move done. They've been like this since lap 2, I believe, Odems.
Yeah, they've been definitely near each other. Maybe he affected dirty air. Maybe he doesn't want to be too cautious.
3-second time penalty for Lemaine.
He's getting around that time that he could undercut him in a few laps time.
Techno Thriller pits.
So yeah, Techno Thriller is going to go on to the Ultras, I believe. Yeah, Ultras. No, Super Softs. So he's going to have to pit again, isn't he? Oh no,
yeah.
It's the Softs, never mind.
Well,
Softs.
Softs, so yeah, it did change on our screen as he's falling down the order. Lukey also pits. What's happened to Lukey? Because he only pitted on lap 8 with the other cars in front of him, so that's a little bit strange. Perhaps he's got wing damage and he's had to come back into the pits. We did see a yellow flag in sector 3 as Matt Your Daddy gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Race control lets us know of that. Jonas, 2 tenths behind Jamie. Why can't he get this job done? Does he lack straight line speed in his setup, or is there something else here, Odems?
It could be a thing of cautiousness. He's a bit, because as we were saying, that the overtaking points are very tight, so he might not want to try a move. But looking on board here, it doesn't seem that he's very quick in the straight line, so that could also be a feature. Maybe he's just okay to sit behind him and just not collect any penalties. I don't think he has any. I'll check. Keane doesn't even have a warning, by the way.
So Keane is doing exactly what he needs to do to win this race. Currently in 6th position, having stopped. If we quickly run through who has stopped and who hasn't, Odems, we can see as Ols pits from 2nd place, so that's going to drop him down the order. That means Lemaine, Jamie and Jonas and Spider Atlas are the only ones yet to pit. Spider Atlas, of course, having connection issues, so it is now the front 3 who have yet to pit from this race. Lemaine leads on supers, Jamie and Jonas chasing behind on ultras.
Yeah. Jonas has 3 warnings, but it doesn't say a penalty, so I'm not sure what's going on there.
I haven't had a message from race control to suggest anything, as Emphatic now gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. We knew this would come into play in this race. We didn't expect to get it come on the bottom of our screen, so that's a little bit handy for us and you guys watching at home. We can still see Jonas, the closest battle on track, and saying that, let's switch over to Techno Thriller, because he wants past Gaza.
Word of note, King Chris says he's on soft tires, but I'm on board and he's on super softs, so I don't know what he actually is on.
I'm not too sure either, Odems. Techno Thriller, of course, after making that mistake when leading this race, not net leading, of course, because he was yet to stop, but still, he's now on the soft tires, and he is looking to get away past Gaza. He's going to go down the inside and get they touch slightly from rear wing, front wing to, yeah, lets him back through. That's some great sportsmanship from Techno Thriller and Gazaman. We'd expect to see that from those two though, Odems.
Yeah, we've had a few incidents where Techno Thriller has been very fair in his racing, and Gazaman obviously is a lead coordinator, so you wouldn't want a better pair in terms of sportsmanship. As Jonas gets past.
We just missed that as we were riding on Jamie Pitts.
So the hope for Jonas would be that Jamie filters back into traffic and gets held up, because I don't think he'll be able to overcut him unless he was a lot quicker than we thought he was.
Techno Thriller gets past Gazaman, as we're seeing King Chris chasing down Ollie. He's got DRS. Is he going to try and move into turn 1? He goes late on the brakes, switches back to the outside so he can get the best exit possible. Ols has a little bit of oversteer exiting the corner. King Chris has to take a little bit of avoiding action. I do love this turn 3. It just seems to go on forever, but I myself have been victim to a last lap incident retirement there, which nearly broke my heart. But
I'm surprised you don't have PTSD about turn 3 after boy with no face.
Season 8 that was.
Yeah, decided that all you needed to do would take Michelangelo and Nick out. Not gonna lie, I laughed. So
as King Chris gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Kian, meanwhile, is right on the back of Emphatic. He doesn't need to do too much here, because Emphatic, we believe, needs to stop again. Or if he doesn't need to stop again, Kian's got a race on his hands.
Yeah, Emphatic definitely does need to stop again, so that's not
Jonas picks.
Emphatic has said that he stopped.
He did stop and set the super soft tyre on. He started on the ultra soft, but can they do that many laps, Odems?
When did he quit?
Lap 10 or 9, I believe.
They can definitely do that. So, yeah.
So you're saying Kian's got to get past to win this race?
He does, because Emphatic, if he stopped on lap 10 for the super softs?
Correct.
He can definitely go to the end, yeah.
So Jonas and Matt, your daddy, both pit. We've got a wide range of drivers on different tyres at the moment, and we're not really sure which is the best strategy, but Lemaine is leading this race, having yet to stop. We've got Emphatic and Kian battling for the podium positions. We've got Ols battling for 5th position with King Chris, who has managed to get past, and Techno Thriller is trying to fight his way back up the field on those soft tyres.
How on earth is Emphatic just destroyed like an 8-second gap? Did he make a mistake somewhere?
I'm not too sure what happened at the pit stops, or whether he was jumped or what. As you said, it was an 8-second gap. These tyres are quicker, the super soft, but Kian looks to be rustling the Force India driver more than the other way round. As Kian loses a bit of his front wing, was that? I saw a little bit of carbon fibre fly off there.
He's good. He didn't lose anything. That flicks one's wide.
Kian once passed.
Probably would have been best off biding his time instead of trying to move in the last corner, as he's going to have to sit behind him for it again.
Yeah, DRS is open, so into turn 1. He doesn't look that close, but is he going to sling it down the inside? No, he waits for another opportunity. Odems, Jonas Blue gets another time penalty if that is just his first one. Matt Your Daddy Gaza pits now, showing he's on the ultra soft. We'll wait to see when he comes out what tyre he switches onto. Podium tier, this is, guys, so F1TS Hub. Follow us on Twitter and subscribe to us on YouTube. Don't be shy to give us a comment below or a comment on live stream. And also you can sign up to join the league at www.f1tshub.com. We currently have, as Kian goes wide and into the barrier as I'm saying that, and damages his front wing.
Do you
think
it is? No, you're right, he did.
To me it looked like he made a mistake, and I have no idea.
Yeah.
He wasn't. That just looked like he just kept on the throttle and didn't back out. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's very weird. Now he's got massive front wing damage, and now we have a race on our hands. What happened there?
I have no idea, but he definitely just went wide. The corner had some runoff area, but he just appeared to just keep his foot on the throttle. He doesn't pit, so he obviously thinks that wing damage is sustainable. But that's definitely going to compromise his race. He's definitely going to want to switch onto a different tyre now and get that wing change, Odems. But Lemaine's still yet to pit in first position, has a 14-second lead over Emphatic. And the Force India driver, you have to say, Odems, is in a great position if he can make those tyres last.
Emphatic, yeah, Emphatic is looking good for the win. Well, maybe because Lemaine could pit and close that gap again. So who knows? Lemaine is looking good for a podium at this point, but he's been very careful. Kian, though, I think he definitely made a mistake prior to that one. And I think he's made another mistake. He just knocked his front wing off. So yeah, it's all. You have to say
now, Lemaine, if he was to pit, he'd come out in third position, given the gap from the leader on our Delta screens. Yeah. So he'd only have to get past two drivers, who I'm sure would make it easy for him. But Kian, with wing damage, he's falling off the back of Emphatic. He needs to decide nowadays what is he going to do.
He needs to pit. He needs to pit definitely. There's no way he's gonna be okay losing 2 seconds a lap. I'll be back in a second.
Okay, so Jonas has come out still behind Jamie. This has been a race-long battle since the second lap. We believe Jamie got caught up in the first quarter or second corner incident, I should say, but Jonas is still looking for a way past in that McLaren. Obviously a Honda engine, but we run realistic performance, so it should have Mercedes power. As we see Kian get a 5-second stop and go penalty for speeding in the pit lane, so he's pitted, and so has Lemaine. Emphatic takes the lead, and you have to say Kian has absolutely ruined what should have been an easy win. An 8-second lead from the first lap, and my goodness, King Chris is up to third after being involved and starting, you have to say, that second corner collision which ended Kev's race. Kian drops down the order all the way to 9th, but he's put the ultra softs on. It'll be interesting to see what he can do with those tyres. Odems, just to catch you up, Kian got a 5-second stop and go penalty for speeding in the pit lane, but him and Lemaine pitted on lap 15 out of 27.
It's all gone wrong for Kian.
It definitely has, guys. If you fancy checking us out, as I was saying earlier, when Kian made that mistake, www.f1tshub.com. We currently have 6 or 7 drivers on our waiting list, but as soon as the space comes available, we will endeavour to get you put in. As just to compromise Keane's race even more, he gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So he is not having a good time at the moment. Check out our merchandise, guys, on the website over in the official F1 TS Hub shop, as Jonas is still trying to get past Jamie, and Jamie is proving to be just as good defensive driver as he is overtaking.
Yeah, he lost a bit of time from the pit stops. He's getting that time back up again. So he's gone down the inside.
And he almost spins it. That was a move out of frustration.
As well. That was definitely frustration. He's lost a bit of his front wing. I think, is he gonna pit? No, he doesn't pit. So yeah, that was definitely just sheer frustration, getting sick of being behind him.
Matt Your Daddy's come through into what position Jonas was in, but I have seen Matt Your Daddy pop up 3 times in race control saying that he's got a corner cut penalty, so he isn't enjoying these track limits on strict rules. Jamie goes defensive, yeah. So that Ferrari definitely has some pace in the middle part of this race.
Yeah, definitely. As he might sneak one down the inside. He does. Jamie gets scared off the track. There you go, Jonas. That's how you do it.
What a move that was. We just went to switch on board with Techno Thriller as we saw him set the fastest lap of the race. And he is currently in 5th position, just over half a second behind Ols. Emphatic, meanwhile, leads this race by what is an ever-decreasing gap to Lemaine in 2nd place.
9 seconds. How many laps are there?
It's lap 17 out of 27. So you'd have to say they both completed their one and only pit stop of this race.
There's going to have to be around 8, 9 tenths a lap quicker than him to catch up, and then he has to pass him. So Emphatic is looking good for this race.
Jonas has found himself right in the back of Jamie again after the Ferrari of Matt Your Daddy dispatched them both. And perhaps he would have learnt from Matt Your Daddy's move as Lemaine sets the fastest lap of the race. What is a blistering lap. He's taken 2 seconds out of Emphatic's lead on that lap. And you have to say it's only a matter of time before those 2 Mercedes drivers, King Chris of course stopped on lap 1 I believe for those soft tyres. Do you think he can take those all the way to the end, Odoms?
There's no reason that he can't. I'd imagine he does. As
Techno Thriller, what a move if he pulls this off.
Looks like he has.
There's not as much grip on the outside there, Odems, because we've now seen 2 drivers pass who have tried to defend by giving a little bit of room, on the inside, and it hasn't helped them get the inside into the braking zone because they just give too much grip away. But Lemaine's down to 7 seconds.
I noticed in the practice session I had with MLA, he tried to overtake me around there twice. And he couldn't, as there's a Mercedes in the wall.
Yes.
King Chris is in the wall. Oh. He has another pit stop he's gonna have to make, as there's 3 cars within there's Keane, Jonas, and Jamie all within 5 tenths of each other. This is really popping off now.
Yeah, riding on board with these guys, Keane's got some work to do if he wants to get back up into the podium position, but it seems every time I talk about a driver, whether it regards to them doing well or doing anything, that seems to be commentator curse. As King Chris, I was just saying.
Keane's gotten them both, sorry.
Keane, what a move down the inside.
Nice.
I was riding on board with Jamie and he just saw him sling it down the inside, so well done to Keane for that move. Jonas, meanwhile, can't seem to get the job done like the rest of these guys.
Jonas is just watching people overtake Jamie, wishing he was them.
Yes, definitely, as the main gets the gap down to under 6 seconds. We're on lap 19 of 27 of round 4 in Russia. Matt Your Daddy, another multiple warning, so I expect him to fall down the field when the final results come out.
Keane is looking good for at least 4th. He could get a salvage a podium here.
We haven't spoken much about Ols, who's currently in 4th position, and you have to say, Adams, he's done a good job today in the Haas. He hasn't been involved in too many incidents, as Emphatic gets a 3-second time penalty, and the 2 3, 4 drivers perhaps at the top are the ones who haven't been involved in a scrap which has left them sideways or damaged wing. So Techno Thriller, of course, did have a little spin. However, as you can see, bits of carbon fibre and brake ducts on the edge of the track there. We have had Tom and Kev retire from this race. Mosh is a lap down, and Spider Atlas had connection issues. So King Chris, after coming and getting a new front wing, is in 11th place.
You gotta wonder where Techno Thriller would be if he didn't lose his front wing. Spin.
He would definitely be challenged for the podium positions, but speaking of podium positions, Matt Your Daddy is on a march, and he is right on the back of Ols. Talk us through what's about to happen here as they exit the last corner.
Yeah, so you have to get the best possible run you can out of the last corner. Which he hasn't gotten the best run, but as we've proven, his straight line speed is great. Ols, is he going to defend? Is he not going to defend? He chooses not to, and Matt Your Daddy puts it down the inside. Ols just about hangs it on the inside, and they're going to go side by side through turn 3. As we proved, there's not much grip around the outside.
Oh!
And Matt Your Daddy takes a bit of a liberty with the space, and Ols, I don't think he lost anything.
There might be a little bit of front wing damage. I can't really see from on board. All I do know, Odems, is that he's the first driver to make that stick around the outside of turn 3 from what we've seen.
we say stick.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't very nice, as Kian is now all over the back of Ols because of that, and he's going to try and go around the outside before we even get to the long back straight, and on those ultra soft tires he does just that.
Yeah, Kian is on a charge. I think Kian actually will be challenging Techno Thriller for that 3rd place. He is really on a charge. He's getting past people very efficiently, isn't he?
Yeah, he's almost coming up to a battle with 2 cars, and he's just, I don't have time for this, and just goes through any door, whether it's open or closed.
Is he going to try it again with Matt Your Daddy? Stick down the inside. He does. Matt Your Daddy lets him through. Yeah, the stewards are probably looking at that incident with Matt and Ols. Might not matter too much, because Matt has like a whole track of penalties.
Jonas Pitts. So he's given up chasing down Jamie, and he wants to do something different, possibly to force the Toro Rosso driver into changing his strategy and maybe getting the undercut. That gains Luki position. Gazza's had a quiet race down in 10th position. We haven't mentioned much about him, but he hasn't been involved in too much of the action as he now moves up to 9th with that. Meanwhile, Odems, look at the lead.
Oh, yeah, you're right. The line is closed right up to the back of Emphatic's. We're on lap 20, 21.
We know that the Bookster is watching this live stream from wherever he is, and he's going to be cheering his teammate on. He doesn't want that Mercedes driver to get past that Mercedes-powered Force India, and Emphatic is not going to want to let this happen, but you have to say it's a matter of time with the different compounds of tyre and the different wear on the tyres as well.
Yeah. Also, we have to look at penalties, which I'll look at real quick.
Here we go, Adams. Lemaine's through.
Yep, Lemaine's through. 2 penalties. Lemaine's gotten by real quickly. Lemaine himself has 2 penalties. So, yeah, that was a lot easier than we thought it would be. Lemaine takes the lead. Maybe Emphatix was just happy to consolidate 2nd.
He got a tank slapper on the exit last corner. In fact, the last 2 corners he had that he tried to get on the power just a little bit too early, and his car wasn't liking that. Those rear tyres were lighting up, and perhaps they're not in the right operating window. So Lemaine almost a second out in front now, 1.1, and he's going to sail off into the distance. But where is our closest battle, Odems? This is the first time in the entire race, lap 22 out of 27, we haven't had a driver within a second of each other. Ols changes that.
Gone into a second. Yep. Ols hurt us. Like, don't worry, I got you. He went a bit wide though.
3-second time penalty for Luki. So those Ferrari drivers are racking up those time penalties, and I'm not looking forward to trying to see who's changed where in these final results. I'm glad the game is able to work it out for us, Odems, because you'd have to say we'd be there for a couple weeks.
Yeah. Oh. Tom, shout out to Tom. He's having a bit of a moment in the chat. Obviously, he was not very fortunate with his crash. So yeah. Speaking of Kian, I think I definitely know who my next driver press conference is going to feature.
Yes, he was leading 8 seconds after lap 2, and he's now done in 4th, 2 seconds behind Techno Thriller, who you have to say is Jonas Blue. I keep saying Jonas Blue. I was listening to them earlier. Gets another time penalty. If we look at the stops, we can see that Lemaine, Emphatic, and Techno Thriller have all done 1. Kian and Matt Your Daddy have done 2. Oz and Jamie have also done 1. Lukey, Gaza, King Chris, Jonas, and Mosh have done 2. As Emphatic now gets another 3-second time penalty, and Spider Atlas has also done 1. So, Odems, Kian, he's chasing down Techno Thriller. Is he going to be able to salvage a podium position out of what should have been a comfortable race win?
It definitely looks like it. He's been on the charge. He's gotten past the back markers very, very quickly, and he's maximized his opportunity to get. He's got a penalty. He's also got a 5-second stop and go. So
he served that already.
Oh, has he?
I believe he served that when he came into the pits after his accident.
I thought that was the time he got it. Okay.
Perhaps he could have done, yeah.
So he's gonna maybe hope Techno Thriller gets another penalty himself, and he can overtake him quick and efficiently like he did the other 4 drivers.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting battle between those two. They shared the front row in Bahrain, and Techno Thriller got the better of him not only on racecraft but also on strategy. Kian said himself that he picked the wrong strategy in that race, and this is going to be round 2, and we'll see what these two can muster up for us.
Yeah, I don't really see a reason to go into the mediums if you're not going to one-stop around Bahrain. I wanted a one-stop, but I finished with the softs. So, yeah, he got the strategy wrong on that day. He's gotten a bit more than the strategy wrong today, but he's doing his best to rectify it.
Riding on board with Kian, looks to be respecting. Yeah, in standard fuel, looks to be respecting the track limits. It's not sunny here in Sochi today. It's a little bit cloudy, but there's been no rain so far, and we're on lap 24 or 27. It's felt like a very long race for me, Odems. I don't know about you, but there has been lots of incidents, less so than actual overtakes today, but it's still been an entertaining race from my point of view. And with a few laps to go, Lemaine looks set to be challenging Techno Thriller at the top of this championship.
Yep, definitely. Lemaine's going to have 50 points to his name. The rate Techno Thriller will have, what, 45 or 42 if he gets overtaken. So,
no, Techno Thriller's won 2 races,
Yeah, 65, 62, depending on whether he gets overtaken or not. So, yeah, the battle is definitely hotting up. 4 races in, and you've also got 4 or 5 drivers who are capable of winning a race on their day behind this pack. You know, I would have really liked to see what Kev would have done. But unfortunately,
it's a shame. It's a real shame because he did so well in qualifying to put his car where he did, and he got a fantastic start, one of the best starts I've ever seen on this game. He was challenging his teammate. They're both respectful, and King Chris, you have to say, he didn't do a lot wrong into turn 2, but it was on the exit that he just lost it, and it just caused, as you see, a bottleneck effect into what was an incident zone as you were approaching. Kian is in DRS.
Yeah, Kian's been chasing him down. I've been watching Kian. He's very respectful of the track limits, as you said, but he's also very neat and tidy with his lines. Rarely touches the curbs he doesn't need to. He had a great package for this race. I'm disappointed for him that he threw it all away. He had a great package for this race.
As he gets a time penalty for that latest corner cut. I was riding on board with him, and the race
Same.
control has given me a message saying that he's got another penalty. So we're not sure who has what at this stage, and Odems, I don't really feel like we should go down the list. I think we should just wait until the final results and see what who finishes where. As Kian thinks about the inside, he thinks more about the inside. Yeah, that was a half-hearted move. We are on lap 25 out of 27. If anyone wants to show you how to defend a position, Techno Thriller, I remember these exact sequence of corners, Odems. I seem to have the better of you in our first race as teammates.
Yes, I remember this. After I had a bit of a moment with Husky time, I was on course to win the race, as I always was at Season 7. I was chasing you down. I think I was on a quicker tire, and I tried to move around the outside. You kept it. I didn't want to... I'm not even the inside, but I didn't want to just try and take the corner, which that obviously wasn't a thought in the back of your head. You took the corner very handily. And I had to settle for fourth. Thanks for bringing that up, by the way. Appreciate it.
That's alright. I like to bring up some of my good moments as well as my bad as we do go through turn 3. But yeah, Odems, it was just about I think you went down the inside and I stuck to the outside, got the better exit, and then decided I was taking the next corner regardless of whether you were going to stick your nose in or not. But Kian, he's going to want to stick his nose in somewhere because we are on the penultimate lap. Lemaine leads this race from Emphatic. You can't take this away from him. Second position.
No.
And he's really deserved that and really earned that. And perhaps that's why he didn't fight Lemaine too much. But Kian, he's definitely going to want to get this podium position. He deserves it for the faults that he's made today. You'd have to say he has had some strong race pace.
Yeah, and quality pace. 1.3 is nothing to scoff at. He was 1.3 up the road from King Chris, who's no slouch in quality himself. He had a pole position last season. So, yeah, Kian, he's shown so much promise, but he'll learn from this. He's made a few mistakes, but he'll learn. He'll definitely come back better and stronger. It happens to the best of us. I hope it happens to Beastas, because he's getting a bit, you know?
Yeah, Beastas is our 3 out of 3 winner in the Pinnacle tier. But right now, Odems, last lap. This is the closest battle. King Chris is getting close to Gazaman for 9th position. I don't know if you'd like to keep an eye on the gap as it goes down to 4 tenths. What's about to happen there? I'm going to stick with these two guys because 3rd position, 15 points are on the cards here versus 12. So what can these two drivers do? They shared the front row in Bahrain last time out, and Techno Thriller got the better. Kian wants to change that tonight, and he's going to have the back straight to do just that. You have to say, last lap, what would be going through your mind, Odems?
Well, my mind, it would just be get ahead of this guy as quick as possible. If I have to dive bomb him, I'll dive bomb him. It's his fault. That's the reason I'll come to in my mind. So last lap is, if there's a time for any late maneuvers and dive bombs, then the last lap is definitely the time. Speaking of which, Chris might have it going, Gazaman.
Kian can't quite get close enough. Techno Thriller gets a tag slapper as Kian gets a 3-second time penalty. So I think even if he does get past, he's been pushing the track limits a little bit too much in this last stint. As Lemaine finishes the race, King Chris takes 9th position from Gaza. Emphatic is going to come across the line in 2nd. We're sorry we didn't get to show you guys Lemaine crossing the line. We were too involved with that battle for 3rd. As we see now Matt Your Daddy currently in 5th position. We'll watch him cross the line in his Ferrari. Well done to him. Ols is in 6th position. He's going to cross the line and he moves up to 5th. Jamie is in 7th position. He didn't pit again, so Jonas just obviously felt... Well. Yeah, so Matty Daddy did have quite a few penalties. What can Lukey do? Where can he jump? He stays 8th. King Chris, a terrible second corner incident for him.
Yeah, he jumps Lukey. Oh, Gazaman jumps them both.
So Odems, I'm going to let you run through these results as we are quickly over the line with Gazaman, and we'll be able to see who gets what.
celebrations, our 3 podium placers. Lemine, excellent job from him. We've only had 2 race winners in the first 4 races. Lemine and Techno Chiller, who, and Emphatic, we can't forget about Emphatic. He's done so well to get his Force India into 2nd place. I'm going to quickly run down the standings. Lemine with the win. Emphatic takes 2nd place in the Force India. 3rd for Techno Chiller ahead of Kian. Alls has done a great job to take 5th place. Jamie, 6th. He didn't have the pace around here, but he's had the consistency, had the spirit to take that place. Matt, your daddy, finishes 7th. A lot of penalties. He crossed it on in 5th, but a lot of penalties were put him down to 7th. Gazaman overtook King Chris and Lukey, also on sheer penalties. So, well done for him. King Chris 9th after that first lap collision. 10th is Lukey. Jonas Olbricht, Spider Altus, 11th and 12th. Daniel Carter, which I think is Mosh, is in 13th. The Kvyat is Pejwar. The DNF on his own accord, and Kev, who was very unfortunate in his DNF, hitting the back of King Chris.
Oh, then I need to give a special shout out to Ols, Jamie, Gaza, and I believe that's it. They were the only drivers not to receive penalties in today's race, which was a challenge in itself. So they should all definitely be considered for the Driver of the Day nominations. But it's funny that you mentioned we've only had 2 different winners in the first 4 races in Techno Thriller and Lemane, but we're yet to see them have a battle on track.
Yeah, that's very true. They've both just had they've had different races compared to their counterparts. As in pit different times, different tire strategies. So yeah, that's Gio.
Well, guys,
actually, technically did overtake Le Mans in this race, didn't he, at one point?
We'll have to wait and see what happens in round 5 next week. The podium tier is always at 7 PM. Thank you to everyone for watching. Remember to give us a follow on Twitter and hit that subscribe on YouTube. You can also check us out at www.f1tshub.com. Head over to the shop where our premium members, of course, get 10% discount. They can buy t-shirts, hats, and more. Odems will be featuring in the Pinnacle tier at 9 PM, and that'll be our next coverage, which is coming up very shortly. I'm looking forward to seeing the big boys go around Russia with my co-commentator Alan. And Odin's best of luck for that. If you want to vote for the Driver of the Day, make sure you head over to Twitter. That'll be up tomorrow morning. Thank you everyone for watching. Have a nice evening, and we'll see you next week.